Before you get married, before you consider being in a relationship, I want you to ask your partner this one question. It's more important that you cannot afford to ignore it. It will unsettle you, but please, it is that important. And the question is, hi baby, how many bodies have you gone through? How many souls are you tied to? I want you to remember this before I proceed. When a man and a woman unite sexually, something is created. He and she become one being with supernatural powers to create life like God himself. In Jeremiah 21 verse 8, it is written, behold, I set before you the way of life and the way of death. And this means men and women can use sexual intercourse in order to become gods or to become demons. So every time you engage sexually, you are either creating demons or becoming a demon, or you are uniting to create a life, becoming gods. So I want you to ask yourself a question before you ask your partner this question. How many souls are you tied to? Do you have an idea of how many people you have engaged with? I'll explain to you why it is important. If you lost count, then you should understand why your life is chaotic. Because when you tie your soul with someone, and soul ties are real, every time you exchange this sexual energy, every time you exchange these fluids, your souls are getting tied like a knot, and it cannot be separated, it cannot be broken. That is why the Bible advocates for you to be holy. That is why the Bible advocates for you to wait until you get married so that you can only have experience with one soul. The society has convinced you that it's okay to be in relationship. It's okay to be tying souls. It's okay to find love. If it doesn't work, go find love. If it doesn't work, keep on finding love until you find love. Look at the media. It's constantly bombarding you, feeding you with graphics, sexual images that are just meant to condition you and believe that this life revolves around engaging, that everything revolves around engaging. Right now, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, who can you engage with? If you're at work, you're probably thinking, when I get home, I just can't wait to be engaging in these meaningless, immoral relationships. And these have future consequences. Because every time you tie your soul to someone, you are inheriting their karma. You are inheriting all their misfortunes. And remember, the one you are tying your soul to has tied souls with 1,000 other people, 500 other people, 100 other people. That's how demons are created. Demons are formed by desecrating this holy act of intercourse. We have turned ourselves into these demon manufacturing entities. That's why no man is connected to God today. That's why this generation is disoriented. That's why this generation fell from grace. We talk about God being omnipresent, but we do not have an experience with God. We are disconnected because our holy temples are defiled. Our holy temples are desecrated. We have tied souls countless times, and in tying souls, we have defiled these holy temples that were meant to be sanctified so that they can house the Holy Spirit, so that the Holy Spirit can be the conduit between you and God. And as a result, we are living in isolation. And as a result, we are all chaotic. That's why it is important to preserve your holy temples. That's why it is important to practice self-discipline. That's why it is important to be holy. That's why it is important to be righteous. Not to please God, but for your own sake. It benefits you more than it benefits God. Imagine, my brother, you are marrying someone who has a mileage of maybe 100,000. 100,000, like a truck. No, a truck even goes up to 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, and it will still be going. And you settle with someone like that. That is going to bring so much confusion and interfere with your own destiny. Because you, my brother, you also have so many other souls that you are tied to. And it is wrong for a man to marry someone who is not complete. It is wrong for a man to even consider someone who is not complete. And I know women will not be happy hearing this, but it is that important that you now raise your own children in a better way and teach them to maintain and preserve themselves and their bodies, and maintain purity and avoid opening for anyone who comes by, just so that they can have healthy relationships, healthy marriages. The reason why there are high divorce rates is because there are so many conflicting spirits in these marriages. The wife comes with her own 500 souls that she's tied to. The man comes with his own 2,000 souls that he's tied to. So there's always a constant conflict. There's no peace, there's no harmony. But should a woman wait for marriage, should a man wait for the right one and only engage with that one particular one, that marriage will be sustainable. That's why our parents, they are still together, because they practice this level of holiness. They valued this sacred act of engaging. Even you, my sister, you might feel like it's an attack to you. Would you want your son to marry a woman who has been through 500 men? Would you want a woman who has been through 50 men? Would you want? You wouldn't. So, taking the moral aspect aside, let's look at how this compromises your spiritual men and how this affects your destiny. When they talk of generational curses, when they are talking and mumbling about generational curses, they don't even understand what a generational curse is. But a generational curse is contained in the sacred fluids. The generational curse is formed by these soul ties. It becomes generational because you are tapping and connecting with different energies and with different spirits that are foreign, that are conflicted, that have their own personal histories. And now when you now tie with that type of a soul, that also comes from a family of witches, from a family of the Freemasons, from a family of murderers, from a family of RAPISTs. And there you are, you also come from a family of armed robbers, from a family that has so many other rituals that they practice, and then you tie that soul. Not only that, there is another one, again, your wife would have tied with 500 more. And you, my brother, you'd have tied with more than 1,000. Now, do you see how much of demons are being created in the process? That's why I want you, my people, to go and download the EJ Trap. It will lay the foundation and it will highlight to you the consequences of constant release, the consequences of being loose, the consequences of self-service, the consequences of excessive indulgence, even if you are married, and the consequences of marrying someone who has many bodies below their belt.